that was so incredibly one-sided.
And that's why I want to be particular.
Yeah.
The match itself may not be the most interesting of the season, but this game is the most interesting of the season to me because KT Rolster, a roster that was looking to do one better, that was looking to win LCK Summer. Again, a roster of talent that came together with the sole purpose of winning Worlds, of not going and fielding offers outside of Korea, coming back to Korea and making it work, have been perfect games. So how they come back from this game, I think, will very much inform their season. It's so weird to say in week one that your season is kind of being shaped by a single game, but it's also so weird to say that a team with Smeb, Score, Pawn, Deft, and Mada were perfect gamed by any opposition. So this is really about what happens because KT lost game 1 to SKT, never looks like coming back in 3-0 in the final. KT were just perfect game in just a regular season game, but how they come back here will really inform how the season goes for KT.
Yeah, doing that as well off the back of their loss to Longzhu Gaming as well. There's not a lot of great data points here for KT over the last few matches. Lee Sin is going to be the final ban here on the side of KT, so Elise looking like she's in hot pursuit. Score will probably lock that one down here. Caitlyn not going to be left up for Deft to play with.
First pick Caitlyn, like you say. So first pick Elise, like you say, is by far the highest tier jungler. Feels like the holy triumvirate now, if you're just catching up, in Korea is Zac, Lee Sin, and Elise. Zac permabanned and a flex pick, but Lee Sin and Elise have made it through multiple times.
And now Spirit looking down the barrel of an Olaf pick. That's my feeling, Papa Smithy, and it is frightening. I'm glad that the music track changed there just momentarily, because it's a frightening prospect, because his Olaf can be so hot or cold.
Now, will Tucson also be interested in jumping on the Thresh train? That's one of the champions that was taken very early in the draft last time.
Oh no, just going to go for that Zyra, so you can put the plants down in front of the Thresh. Just say, well, Marty, you can pick it again if you want. Didn't really do too much last game. Looks like they might be happy to see it. 4 seconds to go before they have to make up their mind, and there it is. Bottom lane locked in here for a Freak of Freaks.
Bottom lane that we might see again in our second match of the night, as Samsung played Varus Zyra in both games in their victory over SKT.
Yeah.
Does mean that Mada can jump back and Thresh, and while I built up the Thresh, because again, Mada in 2014 was a very good mechanical support and made his name with sick Thresh plays. We saw the Thresh in the playoffs, and we also saw the Thresh in Game 1. And it's fair to say he's not the same player he was 3 years ago. Right now, it feels like his shot calling and his sense of timing is still there, but his mechanics haven't impressed in the same way in China or necessarily in Korea. So he can redefine that again. We know how good a player Mada can be, but picking up the Thresh here doesn't feel like a trump card for KT. I'd love to be proved wrong.
Well, of course, Deft still having those mechanics locked away, but Cannon was let through. And my God, that is, I've not seen a lock-in that quick in quite some time.
Yeah, Africa have had double ban of Zac and Cannon against them every game they have played so far this season. Our first on-hit Cannon in Korea was actually Marin, bringing it out very early in spring season, a build that was coming back from years ago. China loved it a couple of years ago, but Marin brought it back and showed the power, and it's been close to permaban status in this tournament and also at MSI. So giving it to someone as practiced at split pushing as Marin, as laning focused a pick as it is a pretty big penalty. But KT had to adapt to something, and I think the mid lane Galio really papered over any perceived weaknesses for Kuro. Has a global, could build tanky, can basically Q a minion wave and move away. Reminds me of Victor in many ways, ironically, because he was known about push lane, leave lane, and that was what he was able to do on the Galio.
I do actually quite like it from KT, though. They're saying, well, Marin, you're probably going to play well no matter what happens. We're going to make sure that Spirit's champion pool is as smashed as we can possibly get it. Nidalee is going to be the final ban here from KT, so continuing on that flow, and then making sure that Kuro doesn't have that ultra comfort of the Galio that he's been going towards almost every time he can get his hands on it.
I wonder if they'll consider the jungle Gragas here, because you are getting pretty far down the tier list of junglers like you mentioned. Graves is also available, but hasn't really performed much. Score, for example, struggled on it in week 1. There were some accumulated nerfs over the course of the last 2 or 3 patches, which means the proficiency has certainly gone down.
Oh, this would... Oh. Nunu has been seeing a bit of a resurgence.
Now, Jarvan can do well against Kennen in lane, so he will be taking the Jarvan side once again.
I was talking about a Nunu when there's an Elise already picked. I just got so excited.
I mean, I can understand it, but we're far away from the EU LCS right now, Atlas, so no Nunu.
Oh, no.
And look, Jarvan and Orianna were a very old-school initiation combo. KT has said, well, we couldn't really make things happen last time, so how about everyone can make things happen?
Yeah, but they've got literally pick potential from every single player on the team.
What type of comp would you call it, Atlas?
It's probably a Siege. No, it's a pick comp, isn't it, Pop Smithy?
Nice!
Yes! I had you going for a second there, didn't I?
So
Like
big
to keep you on
pick
your
comp
toes.
from KT, but Afrika actually have pick tools of their own. We just want to see how they round out their draft in the mid lane. And, well, everyone's picking. Someone's going to pick a winner here, Atlas, because Afrika Freaks and KT are largely fighting in kind. Big difference is the split push pressure, which Jarvan can have, but Kennen is basically solely picked for. When you're going on hit Kennen, you're looking about setting up a 4-1, but building against Jarvan is actually not easy for a Kennen, whether it's on hit or AB, so expect to see jungle attention go the top lane. Because if Jarvan is just allowed to EQ all in, he will very often win trades against a Kennen.
Yeah, most certainly will. We actually saw that matchup won by the Kennen last day of LCK that we did see. However,
early, oh boy.
It was, certainly a difficult one for the Kennen early on. So we'll see what Smeb can do, of course. This is the hot featured matchup of this series, and Smeb needs to try and have a bounce-back game, score as well on his coveted Elise pick against Spirit on the Graves that has been smacked with that nerf cannon a heck of a lot of times. Form of the Orianna was banned in game number 1. And so a lot of positives to be said about the draft from KT this time.
It's a lot of comfort, like you say, a lot of power, also very straightforward. It's not a timing-based comp. It's all about the pick potential. So they get rolling, like you say, which may be so necessary with their previous mentality question marks. They have so many tools to initiate, but they are also coming off an embarrassing loss.
Yeah, so we'll see whether they can bounce back effectively against Afrika. Maybe get a perfect game of their own as we hit the rift for game 2.
Call the shots, bring it back to what it's not. Could be a suggestion to Mata, honestly, and KT Rolster, given how many shot calls there are. So perhaps prophetic words or ominous words from the OGN
intro.
There.
Yeah, exactly. Scary things. Blood fans still out in force, trying to give KT as much energy as possible. Quite full up here in the OGN studio.
I mean, it's a lot of stars in this game.
Oh, heck yeah.
Viewership numbers for LCK have been thriving in 2017, with so many superstars joining the other cast of players who remained in Korea after the great exodus of 2014, because basically everyone's favorites are now here. Yeah. All the Power Rangers have assembled in Korea.
Megazord? Are you saying Megazord is now in Korea, Papa Smithy?
But the fun thing is, Atlas, I cast the last 2 years, before 2017, 2015, 2016, and there was always those moments where you're like, I'd love to see that guy back in Korea. Of course, the EDG players, the Samsung Blue players, Samsung White players, and sure, we don't have everyone, but this was the year where basically most of the names you'd consider came back to Korea, and KT very much embodies that idea of bring back the players who had made their star in the past, had gone to chase the money, and now we're chasing something different. That's why it's so interesting that we're watching two teams that, I guess, together do have that identity battle, and the one that has the bigger names is certainly the one who are on the losing end of game 1.
Well, Kramer actually taking a lot of damage.
Ignite
Mata, has thrown down the Ignite. Deft looking for the auto attacks. The flash comes out too soon. Still very squishy. Volley doing a lot of damage back as well as KT. Well and truly back in it, especially on the bottom side of the map here, mentality-wise and aggression-wise.
The first time they've been on the winning end of a 2v2 laning trade in 4 games. The previous 3 games have not gone their way, so this would be really big to boost the confidence from KT Rolster.
And remember, this was a bottom lane picked first round for Afrika Freaks as well. They wanted this. They had the opportunity of going for the Ashe if they wanted to. thought that the Varus-Zyra would be able to outlane, not level 1. Nah, KT have hit that level 2 mark. More than happy to keep pushing this one forward.
And speak of pushing it forward, you can see the result. Because they got the push on, they also got a deep ward, so Spirit going to take longer. And actually has to smite his blue, something he didn't want to do, but he turns on to Deft.
Deft taking some free damage there. Red buff going to burn him down just for a little bit. Kuro was moving down as well, meaning that Deft had to play ultra defensive, but maybe overstayed his welcome there just a little bit, trying to potentially steal a blue buff with a volley.
Doran's shield meta means that Kramer was able to stay in lane, hasn't healed, and it's going to be close to completely topping himself up. That was a Doran's Blade, would have had to back, would have lost another minion wave, and may have always been significantly far in experience, but another sign of why Doran's shield is so squarely in the meta is access to 2 potions is quite a lot of the health bar of a squishy 80 cat.
Yeah. Not to mention the extra regen. Deft still farming quite nicely, but you can see the Afrika Freaks bottom lane, like you said, well and truly back up to health. So normalizing score, going to spot Spirit. Pawn actually having to flash. Dissonance doing a lot of damage to Kuro. Because at least they're buying time for Score to do what he wants in his jungle.
It's hard to tell if the flash was necessary, but just as the seismic shove looked like it was going to register, Graves was walking through the lane. So that's why Pawn chose to flash. And speaking of flashes...
Oh, there is the flash. He's actually holding onto the hook, though. Lands it! That's going to be Tucson getting cocooned and destroyed. They want Kramer as well, but first blood goes to KT. And it's going to be Score that picks it up.
And such an important one. 45 minutes of game time across 2 games required for the first kill or objective secured by KT Rolster. And I'm happy that Mada made me eat my words. Nice Thresh mechanics in lane. Gets them an advantage. And it's their first one of the series.
And I absolutely love that it's not necessarily mechanics, it's the Thresh mind games. It's Mata playing that incredible mental game that he's always been known for and doing it expertly. He held onto that hook for so long. He just flashed and said, yes, you're in range to be hooked now. You do something about it. And they couldn't. Tucson still has his flash, in fact.
You just feel like if it had gone the other way, if it had been Afrika, very hard to say what the result would have been, but so important to KT's mindset. And because the comps here share quite a lot of identity, you could argue a little bit more split pushing on the side of Afrika, but otherwise a lot of pick tools and team fight tools on both sides. Getting an advantage when your comp is very comparable is actually even stronger, because it's not even a different identity that Afrika can do to get ahead.
Well, Mata going to get the flay onto Kramer. Immediate exhaust goes down. No, Score! Can he actually get the work done? Kramer still taking a lot of damage. The flash from Deft! His aggressive flashes have been great when he's been utilizing them effectively. And when he can get 1 down in a game, God, he looks good. This could be the snowball for KT.
You're looking for someone to stand up. That person at the start of the game is Mata, like you say, the brains trust that's always been looked for those intangibles. Sure, there are the highlight clips, but we always talk about shot calling and ability to read the game. He has managed to read the game in the first 5 minutes here better than any other player, and it's given them a huge advantage in the bot lane. Already Bilgewater Cutlass is finished for Deft, as KT are looking to play themselves back into confidence.
Yeah, and especially on the bottom side of the map. But if you look over the rest of the map, you've got Pawn doing absolutely fine here in the mid lane. No support whatsoever. Score being on the bottom side the entirety of the game, and Smeb surprisingly only 4-5 CS down with a massive minion wave crashing. Spirit was up there towards the top side, but Smeb had gone back to base. Things absolutely fine on the top side.
Yeah, when you have bot lane going so one-sidedly where you're very much not going to be getting too much more help now that Score has got a successful gank off bot lane, all you need to do is a containment job here. If you're Smeb, you want to have all-in options if possible, but you don't want to just overextend while the natural pathing target for Afrika will be top lane, given that now bot lane is basically, well, hope you guys can do what you can do. Not going to be pathing around bot lane too much, unless it's just as level 6 comes up and they look for an ult.
Yeah. It's sort of reminiscent a little bit of the Rox Tigers Jin Air series that we just saw, but in that one, the top side of the map was being capitalized on by the opposing jungler. Flash has to be answered here by Marin. Smith gets his way in. That's a pretty simple flash. Just needed Score's presence to gather that one.
Next time will not be available to answer Cataclysm, so Expect the pathing around top side to continue. That's why you see Score with the assist pings. He wants more.
Marin does have the Slicing Maelstrom. Had to check myself for a second just because there are multiple Maelstroms in the game. Score looking for the Cocoon, but massive amounts of damage. The Cataclysm comes in. Smeb, he will most likely be taken down. Not just yet. In goes Kuro. And there it is. Threads the volley through and grabs the first kill for Afrika.
Already telegraphed, but because the minion wave will be pushed in, it still is worth it from the side of KT Rolster. You're denying quite a lot of minions for Marin. And Marin isn't following the playbook, Atlas. Look at his first buy.
Ooh, this is a cute one. Is that going to be Proto Belt Cannon?
Could be AP Cannon, could also be
the Gunblade Cannon?
From the Ruby Crystal in the inventory, it might be AP, which would be insane given the pass. There's another Flay hits.
Yeah, the hook misses, but it doesn't seem to matter. Tucson's still going to go down to Deft.
Well, the real 2014 MVP, please stand up, because Mada is putting on a masterclass on Thresh. I've waited for this the last couple of Thresh lock-ins, and he's looked far away, a specter of that player, but man, he's just turning it on this game when they need it.
He is, and he just understands the timing of when to make these plays, because that hook missed, but it didn't matter. He just knew what he was capable of despite that point. We always knew him as a calculated guy. Certainly knew exactly what he could achieve with any situation there, Juke notwithstanding. As the shove is going to grab a blue buff for Kuro.
55 AP suggests that it could be that AP Cannon.
I just want it to happen so bad.
The reason it was forced out of the meta, guys weren't watching in spring, was the big change to how Cannon's ult works. Before, a lot of the damage was front-loaded as the CC was about to register, but they moved all the damage to after the CC went down, so of course you just flash out, and then the majority of the damage wouldn't register, so you didn't get as much value out of ability power. And it turned into on-hit cannon, which is powerful, but kind of boring. He just kind of runs around hitting people with auto attacks, and if he misses his Q, he's like, well, whatever, didn't matter. But AP Cannon, source of so many highlights. Smeb himself, of course, against G2, broke their hearts with that massive engage during the World's group stage.
Absolutely love it that it's the AP Cannon being played against Smeb as well by the guy that brought on-hit cannon to Korea.
Now he's threatening AP Cannon, could be hybrid, could still be an on-hit build. We're not 100% sure. It's just the Ruby Crystal does suggest a Haunting Guys or a Proto Belt. So right now, first thought is AP Cannon, if we are to see it.
I'd love it. Love a Proto Belt, even if he does go for some sort of weird hybrid build. Marin experimenting is something that I've grown to love forever.
You got even more of it. You got that year in China. How would you summarize Marin's 2016 in China?
Well, it made me happy. Probably didn't make Marin very happy. You remember his experiences on LGD? Watching them try Varus mid Rumble compositions over and over again and have them never work.
How many times did they try before they worked out it wasn't going to work?
I don't think they ever actually worked out it wasn't going to work, because it seemed they wanted to try it forever. As Smeb looking for Marin. There's the Cataclysm. Flash. Yeah, no flash at all. He's trapped inside, but look at this. Marin actually a fair bit of damage. Smeb can't flash, doesn't have it available. That was so close. One more auto attack would have done it. Marin still makes it safely underneath his turret.
Spirit's going to find Smeb.
Oh no, caught window shopping slightly. Smeb gets over with the flag and drag, but turns it around. He's looking for the kill. Oh! Baited and outsmarted, I'd call it.
Nice
That's
stuff.
The collateral damage.
Nice coverage from Spirit there, and good communication between Marin and Spirit on the recall location as well. Unnecessary from Smeb. This is something that he's done in basically all his games. He's made pretty glaring errors that do not fit his reputation, so Smeb really needs to tighten up his game, because he's the only 2 deaths on the side of his team.
Well, it is the Proto Belt done, Papa Smithy. Marin is going for something new.
I like how we're calling AP Cannon something new. Oh, 2017. Ooh. Trump's the president, and AP Cannon's new.
Make Cannon great again, Papa Smithy.
We've got Talia in this game. This is great.
Oh,
we can talk about walls.
I don't want this. I don't want this. I always get scared with hot topics.
I thought you were talking about when you get into hot topic, you just get really scared.
Well, honestly, I actually do get anxious clothes shopping. It's always been a thing.
Are you like a bring a friend for comfort shopper, or just go with girl? Like, what's your shopping strategy for clothes?
Well, it's just to do it as efficiently as possible so I don't need to be in the store for very long.
Do you know your size and then refuse to try things on, or?
No, I understand that you have to try things on. I've been burnt by that one way too many times before, Papa Smithy. But I'm glad that you understood my thought process when first, you know, approached with the option, as Arrow's going to fly a little bit wide of Tucson.
Def's been able to take a back seat so far. This lane's like, I can initiate too, and no, it's Marta's turn.
Yeah. Kramer throws out an arrow of his own, not quite as dangerous as the big one that Deft has, made out of ice. Things quietening down. 1,000 gold the lead for KT, who have themselves that dragon of the ocean variety that was picked up first. Once again, we've got a Cloud Drake as dragon number 2.
So first kind of issue I see with KT's lead is, again, great plays around bot lane, but it hasn't transferred into necessarily aggressive vision. That's why Pawn's face-checked the Spirit.
Yeah, or doesn't seem too worried about it either, as Score does not find the cocoon. No layering of that CC, and it's just a lot of damage down onto the Graves, but does mean that it's one less button that Pawn can utilize against Crow here in the mid lane.
It feels like Spirit and, Score and Marta could be invading the blue side jungle and putting down aggressive vision, given that they have gotten so much purchase out of their bot lane ganks. We saw that a lot from Afrika the previous game. There's the hook.
Beautiful hook. The box is going to be there too to slow down Kramer. Okay, Strangle Thorns just for the disengage. Kramer
Score
will have to go back home. Yeah, Score well and truly over here. We do have a Weaver's Wall coming in. Score 1 versus 3 now, but Marta just flashes over. Kuro's going to get hooked up and possibly destroyed.
Smeb?
Oh, not going to get the knockups to Smeb. Everyone's inside the Cataclysm. It's 3 kills. 2 of them go to Pawn, and KT are looking for more as Marin trying to run away. He wants to get on top of
the damage.
Pawn. A lot of damage, but he does fall down. Smeb has himself the shield and Spirit. He's desperate for a kill, but he's baited in. That's the ace for KT.
It all fell apart for Afrika Freaks that thought to re-engage there. Even Marin got too angsty, looking for the ultimate, was doing a lot of damage at the end, but no one there to back him up, and relentless aggression from KT around the bot lane paid off.
And so much desperation from Afrika Freaks, but let's see what happened right here.
Ash Arrow was down, but Marta predicted the juke coming through from Kramer. They took him down, didn't quite kill him, and the action could have ended here, but Score had already positioned himself bot lane, and this meant that everyone was going to get involved. So Score comes in, heal means he doesn't get the initial kill, so there's no get one pick, get out. And from here, Pawn's shockwave is down. So much is down, but flashes are down. That means that Cataclysm is basically the permanent terrain it was always billed to be. Note that the damage from Marin, again, it was in a failing effort, but right at the end, after the CC, you see where the old AP cannon damage was coming from. Will that be significant this game? After losing so many members there, perhaps not. The KT have themselves their first sizable lead of the season.
Well, Spirit actually going aggressive on Namada. Does get the point-blank hook. Grabs himself the shield. There's the shockwave. Pawn just says, yep, I'll clockwork wind up you to death, and that's just baited out from Marta. And we mentioned, Marta, when he has control of a game, is a completely different beast, and he's demonstrating it right here in the enemy jungle.
But the best thing about it, Atlas, is that he did it himself. It's no way other lanes winning, and then Marta's like, I hit some hooks, now I'm a good player. From level 1, he dictated the bot lane, he hit all the clutch hooks, he has been completely on top of the laning here. Any skirmish has gone the way of Marta. And I mean, the MVP, if KT win, is already his.
Yeah. I absolutely agree, but I feel like the whole team is going to be the MVP in my mind, because bouncing back from a perfect game for any team is hard, but for KT it's even harder, as Marin looking for Pawn, and he will get taken down. That 1 versus 3 was difficult to get out of, and it was a fantastic use of that Proto Belt to get Marin in and close the distance on the flashless Orianna.
Yeah, Pawn should have been playing to the top side. That's where his jungler was, that's where their wards were. He had one shallow ward in the river, but no other information, so he was on the wrong side and was caught. So that's just a solo mistake there from Pawn. Nice collapse from Afrika, though.
Score going to find himself the Rift Herald, though, amongst the chaos.
To be fair, these two teams have had 2 Rift Heralds and got 0 turrets from them, so
that's
surely
true.
It's time to get better.
I think Afrika probably utilized one a little bit better in their Ever 8 series, but I don't actually know. We'll have to figure that one out.
You can use it right now and you will get mid lane turret. Instead, he wants more.
Ooh, greedy.
That's where people don't really know. That's kind of the fun things. I was watching EU LCS and they're talking about, well, put down the Rift Herald mid lane, you'll get the mid lane turret. That's the most important turret. It's the easy way to get it. And I completely agree. That is definitely the percentages. He could have just got a free mid lane turret there. But we also don't know, because we don't have enough data points, what is the maximum you can get from a Rift Herald? What mind games can you make using the Rift Herald in different lanes? So right now, it looks like a mistake from Score, but I'm waiting to get more information to know what the high expectations are, potential for a Rift Herald.
And is it better to sit on the Rift Herald for a little while and make the Afrika Freaks understand that they're playing under pressure of that big bug being in the lane somewhere?
I think if you are a team that can pull off the multi-step process, the answer clearly is yes, but KT Rolster in their lifetime have not really been that sort of team. We've seen them so much fail in the mid-game that you don't necessarily think of them as a team that can pull that off, but maybe KT Rolster this game will make us a believer of the potential, as they're rotating around Kennen, who, remember, even as AP, has pretty low wave clear, so putting a top lane will get them an inner turret.
Well, they are going to throw it down here, so guaranteed turret still certainly a thing. But
Weaver's Wall doesn't stop the dash attack, though.
Yeah, he's still going to
It is distracting the Herald a lot.
There he goes. Yeah, he was very, very confused. Herald is just not having a great day, and that's going to be the hook. Spirit taking a lot of damage. The Ignite is down. Chains of Corruption stop Marta from going any further aggressive. And this next minion wave could be an opportunity for KT with that jungler completely absent from this fight.
Like the idea. Still didn't get a turret. Rift Herald just being misfiring this particular series.
Yeah. Might not be the day for Rift Herald, just because misfiring Rift Herald seems to be definitely a thing as everything lands! Oh my god, KT surround and destroy too soon. And that's the two-man shockwave. This is the Pawn Orianna that we've wanted to see for so long. As in goes everyone. Mata misses the hook, and Marin gets cocooned, and Eden, and everyone is picking up kills for KT.
The Oprah comp for KT is working correctly, Atlas. You're an initiator. You're an initiator. Everyone's an initiator. You don't need one person with the go button, because everyone has one. And that has actually led to an overall confidence, because everyone's making it work.
It's the Winfrey composition. Is that what we're calling it?
That's what we're calling it.
That is absolutely fantastic, Papa Smithy, because pick comp seemed a little bit boring to me.
But the fun thing is that if you think about KT in spring, a pick comp is pretty new. They weren't playing tanks. They weren't really playing much initiation in any role. This is actually very different from the KT that we saw establish themselves. But they're making it work, just as the strong group of 5 players they are.
And now 12-4 in kills. They've got a massive gold lead to the tune of about 7,000. Deft underneath this turret will clear things out. It's 4 turrets to 0. Feels similar to the Afrika Freaks' victory in Game 1, but not quite as perfect on the side of KT. It never is. They do like to take a few risks, Papa Smithy.
It won't be a statistically perfect game, but could you think of a more perfect game to get KT out of their funk, out of their previous 3 games? Because everyone in this game has had a moment where you could shout the name and be excited about what they've chosen to do. And we haven't had a KT game like that since, what, the regular season? Maybe, I guess, the Samsung semifinal, you could say.
Yeah,
I think
that was probably it, yeah.
But that's what, 7 games of League of Legends ago. So for them to actually show something reminiscent of that, for them to get away from the funk that was being perfect game in Game 1, is perfect for a KT fan.
Yeah, we have to go back to the fact that KT have been known to... I wanted to avoid saying tilt, but it's pretty much the word that has to be said here, because they often do it. At the 3-0 against SKT in the final, it felt like that game number 1 was so competitive, so close, and if KT had have taken it, we would have had a huge series for that final. However, wasn't the case, and KT fell apart. If they can win here, they can show that they are able to bounce back. They are able to get that mental game working in their favor, even after a loss. And honestly, that is the best kind of victory here for KT, because it demonstrates they have been able to shore up some of their weaknesses. I mean, it's never good to have a perfect game, but in KT's case, I actually feel like it's almost better.
Follow what you're saying.
Even if it is a bit weird. Kuro's going to take a lot of damage from Smash, but he's actually probably going to be able to grab this kill. The shield comes in, but everyone from Afrika turns up. Scores here as well. Good cocoon does land, and they're going to get pulled out of the pebbles. They're going to be taken down with the help of Mata and the rest of the team. Marin grabs the turret against the flow of play.
Isn't an on-hit cannon, though, so the speed of those turret takes much slower. He's not going to be in position for a flanking teleport as Cocoon hits.
Yeah, hits from Score. Going to take down the turret, but Score is still going to get taken out. And Kramer remains alive. Mata flashes out of the way, but Kuro still looking for this kill. Gets the hook, the immediate cleanse, and Kuro's going to be able to pick that one up. Nicely played, flashes his way out. The Ignite still ticking down. Volley was so close as
The
that
wolf.
puppy is so mad. Nope, not going to be able to pick up the kill. He was down to single-digit health as Marin proto-belts his way forward. Lightning Kenny looks for the Ashe. There's
really
the
wants
flash,
it.
and he's going to be able to pick that kill up. Oh, okay. Pawn just pops the Zyra. Kramer's going to fall down as well, and they forgot that there are a couple of extra members on the side of KT capable of doing a heck of a lot of damage, and Pawn is now skulking around for Marin.
I mean, Pawn is 8-1-2 and hasn't even used a shockwave in that last fight. Wasn't even necessary the moment that Jarvan came in with a teleport. We still haven't really seen a true wombo engage. We know that Jarvan is the most ideal ball carrier as he cannot be interrupted on Cataclysm. Speaking of Cataclysm, he's going to use it now.
Yeah, Marin doesn't have the Slicing Maelstrom, doesn't have the Proto Belt either, and he doesn't have his life for very much longer.
Nope.
That Cataclysm was, yeah, amusing. Smeb's going to be able to grab that kill easy as you like, just based on cooldowns.
Even maximizes damage, hit the EQ, so he got the armor shred from the passive, and the Q into the R. Everything beautiful.
It's textbook stuff here from Smeb, but pretty easy to kill to come up with at that particular point in time. 24 CS in the lead is the Jarvan. 3-3-6, not a massively standout performance. You have to look at Pawn for that. He's been able to play a lot of cleanup, and his shockwaves have been very, very good, especially that double on the top side just before getting that inner turret. 5 turrets now to 1. Afrika pulled back a little bit. And that gold lead has not changed too much given the fact that they've been trading a lot of kills and getting themselves some shutdown gold.
And we talked in the draft about how the one thing Afrika had was a split push of Cannon. So please recall that on-hit Cannon is a very strong split pusher, but AP Cannon's actually a team fighter. He actually can't stand up to Jarvan in the split push. It's all about initiation from Marin. So that win condition is gone because of the AP Cannon.
Well, hook onto Spirit. He's going to get popped. See you later. And now there's no smite to get into this pit. They are going to be able to pick that up. Stranglethorns was aggressively placed to try and steal a Baron, but Score has got his eye on the smite this time. And Afrika grabbed themselves the pick on the jungler and now the Baron buff to help shove this one through. And you can see Smeb's like, well, I'm going into split push. I'm going to grab myself an inhibitor turret.
And he's got his 2 damage items. That's why the Boom Shakalaka was real on the Flag and Drag and Shockwave duo there. Might have missed a hook.
He's missed a few this game. Doesn't
He's
seem
hit
to
a lot
matter.
too.
Damn right he has. Score hitting the cocoons, but that's nothing new. Score's Elise has always been fantastic. Important pick to deny that they just didn't. Slightly different priorities here on the side of Afrika Freaks means that coveted pick is certainly there. This inhibitor turret, not long for the world, and is going to be taken down. Can they get the inhibitor afterwards as well? It's aggressive positioning from KT, and they've lost some health bar. It wouldn't be KT if they're not taking a risk, Papa Smithy. They are going to take that inhibitor just fine.
They were occupying the cannon in the top lane. His flash is down as well, so it was a calculated risk this time from KT Rolster. Just continue to play into full court press. I'm just falling over with basketball analogies today.
I know, it's just amazing. Because I've just got like the Space Jam theme song in the back of my head.
Come on and slam.
Oh, welcome to the jam, Papa Smithy.
I'm ready to be reacquainted with the jam, as Smeb is looking for an initiation.
Arrow's going to land perfectly by Def. Pawn holds onto the shockwave until he absolutely needs it and then picks up the kill. Cataclysm onto 2. Kuro and Kramer taking so much damage. Massive dissonance to clean up, but it is going to be Smeb dying. They trade 2 for 1. Mid and top lane is dead on the side of Afrika Freaks. And KT actually fancy themselves a potential end to this game. It's going to be top lane inhibitor turret first. A little bit more textbook than that. Got ahead of myself.
I mean, the death time is relatively long, so I think they could have gone for a bit of a gamble, but like you say, KT think better. We'll go textbook, like you say. 2 inhibitors down.
Spirit may not be in the position that he wants to be.
Oh, might have messed up the flash there, so wasn't able to get over the wall into range for the play.
Base gates, man. I'm going to blame the coding or something. Something spaghettis. Marta can do no wrong, Papa Smithy. Remember that.
I feel we've had some counterpoints to that theory
Certainly.
over the course of the last 2 years.
I felt like I was making it funny, and maybe it didn't come across so well. Pawn's got 5 items, doing very, very well. Banshee's Veil now completed, as well as his Luden's Echo, Morellonomicon, and that Void Staff. Often picked up. Sorcerer's Shoes, aggressive choice. Now just wants a Death Cap to round it all out. Very even on farm against Kuro, but having 10 kills and only 1 death means that you're feeling pretty great as the Orianna.
I mean, Pawn has had a great game.
Yeah.
His shockwaves have been on point. He's only been caught once playing silly around the wrong side of the mid lane, which sounds like it doesn't need to be made a point, but given how much we've seen from him make critical mistakes, I think we have to say it. It is a compliment, even if in a backhanded one, and the shockwaves are registered in a way that he can feel great about this performance. KT just want to ink it. They just want to get it done pre-35 minutes.
Arrow going to land straight on the AD carry. The Cocoon's there as well from Score, who drops down onto Tucson. They want to get the easy pick off, and they do pick it up. Smeb, Cataclysm, but Kramer, immediate flash to get his way out. Deft can't get towards there. Exactly right. Pawn as well, tanking up the turret, and Smeb, the heal, the shields. He is going to live. Kuro and Kramer now still just trying to clean up these super creeps that are heading in towards the base.
Shockwave.
Teleport available from Smeb, as well as Score is just trying to keep them all here. Marin turns up, Slicing Maelstrom is there, box just to try and deter them. Score gets in, teleport from Smeb, already loses a fair bit of his health bar, but they're now just looking for the final inhibitor of the game. That's the Shockwave, just onto Marin. Will he fall down? Cocoon's not there, Death Flashes, picks it up, the slows are there. They are going to be able to get that one done. Spirit taking a lot of damage, Deft playing frontline Ashe, as he's wont to do, and Smeb says, I'm the real frontliner here. Drags his way forward, Kramer's going to fall. Repel gets Score out of trouble, and the Dissonance tearing them up. They're now relegated to the Fountain. KT with an incredible performance. They still need to take down some Nexus turrets, but it looks like they'll be able to. All of the inhibitors are dead, and the Afrika Freaks, with only 3 members here, are just going to watch their Nexus fall down. That's going to be that, and that's going to be game number 3 between KT and Afrika coming up. And look, if these last 2 are anything to go by, I have no idea what could happen.
But exactly like we spoke about Atlas, we said this is the most important game of the season in week 1 for KT Rolster. How would they come back from being perfect gamed? And honestly, they basically treated us to an exhibition of what can happen when this team is ahead. Going for the Winfrey comp, like we called it. Everyone's an initiator. Worked super well. The pick comp, which was very linear, very straightforward. Someone, one of their stars, makes a star-making moment, gets the snowball going, and then they have pick tool upon pick tool to force objectives and end the game. Your vision game, important, but not that important. You could go straight down a lane, someone hits a line skill shot, and from there it'll work out. So while it's not time to celebrate just yet, it is time for KT fans to celebrate that their team would not just whimper their way 0-4 and 0-2 in matches at the end of the first week. And now it's actually the side of Afrika Freaks to look a little bit despondent and wonder, what sort of KT will we see in Game 3?
Yep, they need to make the adjustments themselves now. The draft looked a whole lot better. The Winfrey comp seems like a free win comp, Papa Smithy, at this stage of the game, but it may not necessarily be able to come out. We are going to side switch, and it has to be a different side of the map picking up the victory, because Afrika were blue side game number 1. It was blue side for KT game number 2, and it's going to be Afrika on blue next time around. So after this break, we're going to see whether Afrika can do it again.